You introduced your first bills recently. Can you tell us a little bit more about those proposals?
Well, my first bill is House Bill 1816. Right now, when agencies write rules that citizens have to follow, where rules are as strong as the law, there is very little review that goes into them. We have a committee that's supposed to review those rules to make sure that they comply with legislative intent. The current process is very weak and subjective. My bill seeks to strengthen the process by increasing the number of rules reviewed based on certain criteria. Under my bill, a group of legislators can initiate a review, a large fiscal impact can initiate a review, or a petition by several local governments who represent citizens can initiate a review. This is important to the process because agency rules are as strong as law. While rules do go through a public review process, this does not ensure that the result is compliant with the legislative intent. This is an important step, holding state agencies accountable to the rules that they impose on the public. My second bill is House Bill 1819. This is a fix to a PDC rule. PDC allows for campaign books to be open to the public, and this is a few days before the primary election and a few days before the general election. What's concerning to me is that there's very sensitive information in there, such as your account numbers, your PIN numbers, your credit card numbers, anything like that. So we had a gal that came in that wanted to view the books, and she was reluctant to give her name and telephone number when she made the appointment. We finally got what we thought was the name, and then when she came in, she was very reluctant again to give her name at all when she came in to review the books. So I thought that was an uncomfortable situation, and I thought that at the very least we should be able to ask for their name, and then the person that made the appointment should be the one that actually comes. And unless we have some proof, we don't know that. My bill actually creates a law that would require them to show picture ID when they came in to inspect the books. This would ensure that the person that made the appointment is actually the person that is there to inspect the books, and I think that this would be a good protection all around, considering the sensitivity of the information that they're viewing.
Can you update us on the work happening in the Transportation Committee?
Sure. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in the Transportation Committee in the last few weeks. We got an update on Bertha, which is the tunneling machine in Seattle. She's still stuck, and we were told that she's about 1/10 of the way through the project. However, WashDOT is telling us that the project is about 70% complete. I'm not really sure how that adds up, but that's what they're telling us. We also have Sound Transit coming to us from Puget Sound, asking to increase their taxing authority for their transit system. This project is 10 years overdue, so behind, and they are asking for $15 billion, which amazes me because that's only $3 billion more than what the entire state budget for transportation that's been discussed in the last few years has been. So that's kind of crazy money to me. And this is for 1/4% of the people that use the transit system or this light rail system. What we did discover was that Clark County was included in this bill, and this would have increased the transit authority for Clark County as well. We discovered that it was removed, and so now Clark County does not have to worry about increasing their transit taxes. So that's a big win for Clark County.
The governor's transportation plan spends about $12 billion on projects, with much of that generated through tax increases. What are your thoughts on this proposal?
Well, as I've said many times before, we do need a solid transportation package that includes solid reforms. I know that prevailing wage is being discussed, and that's important because prevailing wage will dramatically increase the cost of a transportation project. And as well, state sales tax is included. I don't know if you know that, but sales tax is actually charged to ourselves for a transportation project. And then that money, well, right now goes to the general fund. If we can't get rid of that sales tax, then I think that it, at the very least, should go into the transportation fund rather than the general fund. It's important that Washington State get a good transportation package that will help our economy by keeping our commerce moving. Right now, congestion is not included in the reforms or in any transportation project. In 2007, they actually changed the definition of congestion to basically predictability. So if you knew you went from point A to point B in an hour, that's okay. Now we want to have congestion relief included. I've signed on to a bill that will also include congestion relief and freight mobility that we need to have in our transportation projects.